Jar.
A jar.
Yeah.
We'll start on Gimel and base. It's about 10, 12 lines from the bottom. Today's daf is daf Nun Daled. We're going to be starting around 10, 12 lines from the bottom. V'rami d'Remeir ad Remeir. We're going to ask Estira and Remeir. Because the Gemara was talking about a case of, the previous Mishnah was talking about a story where Hezek she'eni nicker. If you damage somebody, you don't really, and the damage is not recognizable. It's not noticeable. Right, so then the Gemara got into a shmuz about Kנסו Shogeg otu mezid or not. Then the Gemara got into a shmuz that Kנסו Shogeg otu mezid. Do you give a knas if somebody did something with Shogeg? Because if he's going to do the same thing with mezid, you normally would give a knas. Then it turned into a whole discussion. Deraisa, yeah. Derabonon, not. Deraisa, not. Derabonon, yeah. Maybe it's only Derabonon stuff. Maybe it's Deraisa things also. So Zok the Gemara that we have a steer in Remeir, B'Deraisa, with things Deraisa. According to Zok Rashi, Deraisa, we have a steer of Remeir on one Deraisa to another. Hachi Tani B'Shabbos Deraisa, the like Kanas. By somebody that was Mechal Shabbos, when it's Deraisa, he doesn't give a Knas Remeir. The Gabe Shvius, Katani Ben B'Shogeg Ben B'Mezid Yaker.
He says you can eat it right away if you make it. Eat it after Shabbos.
Yeah.
Right, not right away. But,
right.
What's the case?
There was a famous brisa that somebody cooked on Shabbos B'Shogeg. A Mavashal B'Shabbos B'Shogeg, Yoichal, if he cooked on Shabbos by mistake, he could eat it. B'Mezid Lo Yoichal. If he cooked on Shabbos B'Mezid, he's not allowed to eat it. As is Dr. Meir. Yeah, I think it's kedai to go through this brisa because that's what everything is based on over here. Rabbi Yehuda, I remember Shogeg Yerchel L'Motzei Shabbos. This is a couple of lines up. So Rabbi Yehuda says that if you did it by accident and you didn't realize it was Shabbos, you could eat it on Motzei Shabbos. But Mezid L'Yochel L'Lamis, if you did it on purpose, he was never allowed to eat it. Rabbi Yechanan Hasan Lo Remember Shogeg Yerchel L'Motzei Shabbos L'Acherim V'Loi Loi. If he did it by mistake, so in Motzei Shabbos, other people are allowed to eat it. He's never allowed to eat it. But Mezid L'Yochel L'Lamis L'Loi Loi V'Loi L'Acherim. When it comes to doing it b'mezid, so then it has to be to the Motzei Shabbos, but not to him and not to nobody's. That's the story of Motzei Shabbos. Fine. So Remeir says that you could eat it. Remeir says that b'shogeg yoichal, b'mezid lo yoichal. So it's a kasha from what Remeir said by Shvius. So
By Shvius, what's the case by Shvius?
So we're going to see.
Okay.
So the Tanya. We learned in a brisa, Hanotea b'Shabbos b'Shogeg Yikayim. If a person planted something b'Shogeg on Shabbos, he could be Mekayim it b'Mezid Yaker. But if he did it b'Mezid, he has to uproot it. It's a big question in the Achronim, in Chaskinuch, amongst others, when you're learning the Malacha of Zereah on Shabbos, when you're planting on Shabbos, nothing happens when you put the seed in the ground.
Right.
It doesn't take roots for another couple of days, 3 days, 2 days, nothing's happening now. So why are you chayiv on what you're doing now? The chiyuv of Zereah, this is a stomach question. You're not chayiv. You're not chayiv anything. So Minchas Chinuch has a big talk about this, and I think it's Mitzvah Lamed Beis. So in the Meitzah HaShabbos, where he goes through all the Lamed Tes Malachos, whatever it may be. So if a person planted on Shabbos, so b'Shogeg, if he did it by mistake, he didn't realize it was Shabbos, or he didn't know that to plant on Shabbos was Asur, so you kayim. He's allowed to keep it b'Mezid Yaker, but if he did it on purpose, you have to uproot it. You're not allowed to let it grow. But if he did it during Shemitah, Bein b'Shogeg, Bein b'Mezid Yaker, Devir Remeir. Remeir says whether you did it on purpose, whether you did it by accident, you still have to uproot it. So why is Shabbos different than Shvius? L'chera to the Raisa, it's no different. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer b'Shvius b'Shogeg Yikayim b'Mezid Yaker. Rabbi Yehuda says in Shvius, if he did it by accident, so then he could be Mekayim it, and if he did it on purpose, you have to uproot it. But Shabbos, Bein b'Shogeg, Bein b'Mezid Yaker. Shabbos, no matter what you do, no matter how you did it, you gotta uproot it. Ul tamech tikshalach. He gufa. This is stomach is going to be a kasha on what we're talking about. Michti haderaisa, because both of them are deraisa. Shvius deraisa, Shabbos deraisa.
and by Shabbos we see that you do not give a knas, but on Shvius you do.
Shvius you do. The yaker is the knas. That's what we're talking about, right? So haderaisa, ma'ishna Shabbos and ma'ishna Shvius. So obviously we have to start figuring out that there's a difference between Shabbos and Shvius. Ella Hasam over there Kediktani Taima. So the Gemara is going to bring a brisa where Meir himself explained what his shita is. Why is it that I say that on Shabbos, if I did it by accident, you could be mekayim it, and if he does it on purpose, you have to uproot it. Ubashvius ben b'shogeg ben b'mezid yakor. And if he plants in Shvius, whether he did it by mistake or whether he did it by purpose, you have to uproot it. Because Klal Yisrael pays attention to when they plant something to the years of Shvius, and they don't count to the Shabbosos. What does that mean? It almost sounds like counting the Sferis. I'm over here, what are we talking about? Zok Rashi, Yisrael Meiner Shneis Netiyasein LaShvius. Whenever a Yid plants anything, the first thing that comes to mind is planting on Shvius. This is the bottom Rashi on Gimel Amud Beis. Lefisha Tzricha Limnei Shneis HaNetil LaArlo LaRavai. You need to count the first 3 years are Arlo, the 4th year is Ravai. Ukshayayitzem Yisr Arlo Machal Neisei Beravias. Haraya Mayna Hashanu L'Mafrei. When you see somebody cutting down his fruits and putting it in a, and starting to process them, you say, oh, so it must be that this is the 4th year, because otherwise he's not, Arlo is a very severe Isser, and he's not going to be playing around with Arlo. So Elamai, he's after the Arlo stages, and he's going to be bringing it up to Yerushalayim for net to revive. So Haraya Mayna Hashanim L'Mafreya V'Aidei Hashanata B'Shvius V'Asi L'Mishrei Neti B'Shvius. Oh, well, what's going to happen? He's going to count 4 years back, and he's going to say, hey, 1 second, 4 years ago, when this guy planted it was Shvius. 1 second, whoa, hold on a second. I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, well, okay, now is the 4th year, so now I can bring, this guy's bringing the parents to Yerushalayim. But 1 second, 4 years ago was Shemitah, so now oh, so he planted it during Shvius. How are you not allowed to plant during Shvius? This guy was over on Shvius, so that's no good, right? So a person counts like that. That's a cheshbon that a person is going to make.
Let's take a look at the next
Yeah.
question.
Ve'ein money l'shabbosos, but he doesn't count l'shabbosos. Ve'ein money netiya sen l'shabbosos. Ve'ein money yamim l'netiya el hashanim. You don't say, oh well, maybe he planted it on Shabbos, because we look at, the Yidden, we always look at the bigger picture. We care about Shemitah, right? What about Shabbos? Maybe you'll say a guy planted it on Shabbos. But over a long period of time, we're not going to go back to make a cheshbon of when you planted it. Maybe it was Shabbos.
Wow.
But for Shvius, you're going to say, 1 second. 4 years ago, with Shemitah, so you can't do that. To make a cheshbon, like sometimes you keep cheshbon, like how many days the guy's wearing the same shirt. Some people could keep cheshbon of such a thing. Some people won't keep a cheshbon. It doesn't matter, right? Like a Rebbe walks into yeshiva wearing a new tie. Oh, it's big rash. All of a sudden everyone realizes. Some people make a cheshbon like this. Some people don't. If the Rebbe comes in and all of a sudden, like Elizabeth Azariah comes in with a white beard. Oh, so that's a new thing. But otherwise, what's the? Otherwise no one's keeping cheshbon. It's a shvius. You keep a cheshbon because it's a big zach. But Shabbos lagabe netis, it's not such a big deal. So Dover Achaz like the Gemara, another pshat. The nechshadu Yisrael ala shvius, la nechshadu ala shabbos. The Yidden, they're not so great at keeping Shvius, but they're much better at keeping Shabbos. Shabbos comes once a week, and it's pretty clear what the guidelines are for Shabbos, right? Until the Chazon Ish and the Kamimyus Rav came along. Shvius wasn't the most popular thing in Eretz Yisrael, and it's even Ariyah Mezet, it's not so popular by everybody. Halavai, that by next time, much of Shvius is the Gula, right? The Gemara says in Mitzvah Shem that we should be to the Gula already, but the point is that they're chashid on Shvius. So my davarachos, so effectively more. Why is this like another pshat? Why didn't you tell me another pshat? What was wrong with the first pshat that he said that mainin l'shvius, vein mainin l'shabbosos? So it's like the Gemara Hochi Kamer. This is what we mean to say. V'chi temer Shabbos nami zimnin de mikla yom shloishim b'Shabbos. So just a little bit of a background to how Shemitah works. Shemitah doesn't just start. Just like we have Taisa Shabbos, you can make early Shabbos, right? And also we do looks in 18 minutes before, right? And Shemitah is the same thing. And it could be, it's a big shiloh where it comes from, but it could be it's a deraisa, but we start Shemitah 30 days before, meaning Rosh Chodesh Elul. It starts Rosh Hashanah and it starts Chodesh Elul. So Zimnin the Mikla Yom Lamed b'Shabbos. So maybe it'll come out that the 30 days before Shemitah is going to be on Shabbos. He's not going to be able to get in his time to plant for that year, meaning he wants to be able to plant as late as he can. But now, right?
That last day.
But that last day, maybe Shabbos. So then, what's he going to do now? Right. What can he do now? So Zimnin the Mitzvah Lemimni, the Tanya and the Terev Shvius, Shlosh Yom L'Fnei Rosh Hashanah, also Leishana, L'Shnei Arla, the Shlosh Yom B'Shana, Chashuv Shana. Right. That's the Gemara. So Gemara Rosh Hashanah. It's Gemara elsewhere that Shlosh Yom B'Shana is Chashuv Shana, and he can get in that year counting for Arla and for other things within these 30 days. But those 30 days may have started on Shabbos. Like, are we chayshish that he planted it on Shabbos because that's the last time that he could plant? The inatahu yemu the salkale shaza v'loy loy salkale shaza. Zokli Gemara Toshima Dover Acher. So let's see what the Brisa says. The Dover Acher nechshud Yisrael al Shvius lo nechshud al Shabbos. So we say that no, that they're nechshud on Shvius. And so if a person is going to make a cheshbon and say, oh, well, what was 30 days ago? Right? The same way we made the cheshbon, we said, what was 4 years ago? What was 30 days ago? 30 days ago he was allowed to plant, he wasn't allowed to plant. We only have this chash that he may have planted be'isr only if it's Shvius. Because Shabbos, no one's going to plant. What's the Havamina? Everyone knows. Like Tosha says at the beginning of Pesachim, what's the pshat you got to do bedika? What's the pshat you got to do bittul? Why chametz we're so machmer about? Because chametz you eat it every day. Shvius, it's a whole year that you're not allowed to plant. And Shabbos once a week, I know I stay away from my melacha. But Shvius a whole year to stay away from melacha. Not everybody can keep to that. Yeah. So nechshud Yisrael ala Shvius, so nechshud ala Shabbos. Okay, fine. Now the Gemara is going to go back to the kasha because the same way we had a kasha Remeir, it's going to be a kasha Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is also going to be a kasha. So Zak the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda like kasha. Why? Because ba'asrei Rabbi Yehuda chamiru lehu Shvius. Rabbi Yehuda instilled a certain severity into his olam that they were very, very careful about Shemitah. Somebody wanted to insult somebody. So he said, you're a ger, the son of a giyoris. So what did he respond? I don't eat Shvius fruits like you do. I mean, I'm really, really careful about Shemitah. You play around. You fool around with Shemitah stuff. I don't fool around with Shemitah stuff. Nothing. Right? So that was his way of getting back at him, was telling him that I'm very, very careful about Shvius. And that was Ba'asrei Rabbi Yehuda. In the area of Rabbi Yehuda's jurisdiction, that's where they were very, very machmir. So we could understand why Rabbi Yehuda is not going to be shver. They're going to be very careful about Shvius. And Remeir's the jurisdiction, maybe he didn't come down so stark on them, But Rabbi Yehuda was very careful about it. And the people in Rabbi Yehuda's area were also very careful about it. Okay. Tarshema, now we're going to go back to the original question that about Kנסo Shogeg to Mezid. And it goes like this. Ochal Truma Tmeya. So here's the story. There's Mishnayos in Masechta Trumas that if a zor, a non-kohen, eats Truma b'Mezid, so he's chayv misa b'dei shemayim. If he eats a b'shogeg, then he got to pay a karen v'chomish. So the question is, what kind do you pay him back in? Do you pay him back in Truma currency, or do you pay him back in Kulin? Right? Because not that many people could eat Truma, so it's not going to be as, doesn't have such a strong market. So what happens if he eats Truma Tmeya? So Ochal Truma Tmeya, so now a kohen can't eat Truma Tmeya. He's not going to eat it, he's got to burn it, right? So Ochal Truma Tmeya, Meshalim Chulin Tahirim. A person who eats Truma Tmeya, he pays back Chulin Tahirim. So it's two opposites. Truma, he pays back Chulin, and Tmeya, he pays back Tahirim. Right? Chulin Tahirim, that's a very hot item. Everybody's going to want that, right? Shilim Chulin Tmeya Mahu. So what's the halacha if he pays the kohen back with Chulin Tameh? So Amar Sumchis Rishum Remeir, B'Shogeg Tashlum of Tashlumin. B'Mezid ain't Tashlum of Tashlumin. So Remeir says that if this was by accident, that what was by accident? That he paid it back by accident, he didn't know that it was Tameh. Not that when he didn't realize what he was paying back with. He was in a rush. Sometimes a guy pulls out a $20 bill instead of $1 bill. So here he paid him back with Chulin Tmeim instead of a Chulin Tahirim. So b'shogeg tashlum of tashlum, and b'mezid ain't tashlum of tashlum. If he did it b'mezid, no good. Either way, it's a good payment. He doesn't have to worry about anything. And that's it. And these payers become, Rashi says, these payers become Truma Tmeya like he ate. Okay, fine. Because I guess it's like the Kedusha Schal, on this money. Okay. And then he's got to pay back Chulin Tahirim. So the question is, why does he got to pay back Chulin Tahirim if he already just said that it's Tashlum Tashlum? So let's try to figure out what it says and what it's saying here in the Brisa. B'Mezid, Amai ain't Tashlum Tashlum. If he did it b'Mezid, why is it not a good payment? Right? Tavei Lo Bracha. Yeah, he should be blessed for what he did. I mean, he did a good thing. Why? The achol minei midi d'leichazi lebi made to masa. V'kam mishalem midi d'leichazi lebi made to masa. He ate something that he's not allowed to eat, and it was no good for him. But now he's able to be made to masa. It's let's do Rashi. It's towards the wide lines. It's the last couple of narrow lines in Rashi. Why do you say that there's a knas if he paid it back b'mezid? The hani tashlumin. Holay hezid b'tashlumin gruim. It's not like he paid. It's one thing if a guy has to pay in idus and he pays him back ziburis. You want to have a tainus, you can have a taina. Over here, what's the taina? Over here, he paid him back what he's supposed to pay. That's what the Gemara says. Tavi bracha. So the achal minei truma tameya mati lemechel b'mei tameh. When a person's tameh, when a kain's tameh, he could eat truma tameya. It's not like he can never eat it. When he's tameh, he could eat it. The achal truma b'tumah saguf v'misa afilu eat tameya. The zak is like this. I'm sorry. It's like out. He's never allowed to eat truma tameya. Truma tameya, even a kain b'tumah is not allowed to eat. It becomes like an isser. So he's not allowed to eat it. But when he pays him back, so then why isn't that like chulun tahirim? And then he's able to eat, it. Right? Because chulun b'tumah, he could eat b'tumah. Truma tameh, he can't eat b'tumah. But chulun tameh, he could eat b'tumah. What's the problem with that? If he's tameh. Avad and avad, we want to say, and we want to convince everybody to chulun b'tara, and that's very praiseworthy, and that's a great madrega, and great. And that's what we should strive for. 100%. But people get tameh, things happen, and sometimes we're stuck, and we can't always be as ma'akbid as we would like to be. Right? So the achol minei truma tameh, the loy matzil mechmei tameh, the achol truma b'tumah saguf b'misa. So afilu eat tameh, he still gets misa. V'kam misham like chulun tameh. Chulun tameh is chazulei b'mei tumah. V'afagav. I'm continuing Rashi. V'afagav the seif henas and truma. Even though at the end of the day they become truma when he pays it back to the kohen. V'loy chazulei, and the Yisrael can't eat it any longer. That the kohen can't eat it because it's tameh. Miu chulun tameh mechaven l'shlumei. When the guy's paying the kohen, he doesn't realize that what he's paying back is going to turn into truma when he gives it back to his kohen, right? So he's giving him in his mind it's chulun tameh. And what's wrong with chulun tameh? When it goes to the kohen, it transforms itself into truma. But that's not what the Yisrael is being mechaven. It's almost like the story of Nachum Gamzu, right? He has sand, and what's in the sand? I don't know. He picks it up, he throws it, and it turns into arrows, right? It's some powerful kind of a thing. And then the other guy, they filled up the thing with sand, and it was sand, right? So this guy has a mind, he's giving him a chulin. Because that's what he thinks he's paying him back. That's what he thinks he's mechuyev to pay him back. So it's b'shogeg. He doesn't have a mind to deliberately pay him back with the wrong kind of zachin. V'amar Rava v'amir la kedi. And Rava says, or kedi. Kedi is either the name of a chacham, or it means that this is what was said in Bismedrash without a name. Surim mechzer v'achi katani, this is how we would learn the brayso. Ochal truma tameya, meaning that there's something missing in the brayso, and now we're filling it in. Ochal truma tameya meshalim koldahu. He can pay back any amount. Kol shehu chulin bein taharim bein tameim. He can pay back any kind, not any amount, but any kind of chulin bein taharim bein tameim. Ochal truma tahira meshalim chulin tahir. If he ate truma that was tahor, he's got to pay back chulin taharim. Shilem chulin tameim mahu. So the question was, what's the halacha if he pays back with chulun tmeim?
Just to clarify here, was it the shogeg b'mezid right now?
Shogeg, because b'mezid it's chiv mitzvah b'dei shumayim.
Okay, got it. He did it. So basically, he gave the cases. He gave it to him, thinking that it was tahor. Then it became tameh, basically.
Yeah.
En route, something like that. Okay.
This can say something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Or he just didn't realize that he can't pay back with chulun tmeim. That he had to pay back with payers that are Torah, and he made a mistake. He didn't chap. So Zok the Gemara, Sumchis Oimer Mishum Meir B'Shegeg Tashlum of Tashlumin. If it was B'Shegeg, it's a good payment. The Mezid ain't Tashlum of Tashlumin. If you did it B'Mezid, it's no good. But Chachamim say Echad Zeh Echad Zeh Tashlum of Tashlumin. Whether it was B'Shegeg, whether it was B'Mezid, Tashlum of Tashlumin, it's good. B'Chayzer Meshalim Chulin Tahorim, and then he's got to pay back Chulin Tahorim. What's this different? So we've said that before also, right?
So why does it say that it's valid, but he's got to do it again? So
let's see Rashi. I think Rashi is going to explain. B'shegeg tashlum of tashlumin. V'a'evla tru b'shegeg lefi midah m'shalom lefi damet. You pay back by volume, not by the value, right? Meaning because he ate 10 pounds, so you give him back 10 pounds, not $8, because $8 could be a little brick of cheese, or $8 could be, 3 dozen eggs.
Right.
Even though this tumah is worse than the stuff that he ate, midiraisa, it's a good payment. The Rabbanan are not going to give him a knas because it was b'mezid. It was a shogeg when he paid him back. Ober if it was b'mezid, sheyoda shetmein hein. So then we say ain't tashlum of tashlum. Why? The Knessu Rabbanan shemeskam lahavs of kain. The guy says, I'm not really interested in paying back the kain. I'll give him back tamei stuff. Hey, you do it b'mezid. That's why we're saying tashlum, and that's why he's chayzer. In the previous brayza, we didn't speak that out. That he's doing it b'mezid, that the kain shouldn't be able to get anything. He wants to, he has some issue with the kain over here, as we're going to see later on in the Gemara. Also, that maybe the kain had issue with some people, and this guy had some issue with the kain. He wanted to get him back, so he wants to give him chulun t'mei, and he gives him truma t'mei, and it doesn't work like that. So therefore, the chachamim give him a knas, even though midiraisa it's a good payment. But the chachamim want to give him a knas today that he shouldn't fool around with the kain like this, and he should pay back the kain good solid stuff that the kain should be able to use. Now it's clear that the machlekes is going to be: do we say kantor shegeg got to mezid? Meaning, because look, maybe we should say that even if he did it b'shegeg, we should be mechayev him to pay again, because maybe he's going to start. Maybe if he did it b'shegeg this way, and then when he'll do it b'mezid, he won't pay either, right? Because b'shegeg we let him get away with it; he doesn't have to pay again. B'mezid we say that we don't want him to fool around with the currency, we make him pay again. So it's Gemara, maybe even b'shegeg we should be chayshish that when the same story could happen b'mezid, just like b'mezid he has to pay knas. So then by the shegeg maybe also we should be chayshish that he's going to end up fooling around. So let's see what we're talking about over here. What do you mean? One second. The guy's not fooling around with the kain because you see that he's paying it back. If the guy's not interested in paying back the kain, he wouldn't pay him back at all.
Right.
Or he'll pay him back with some rotten tomatoes.
Exactly.
From the fact that he's paying it back, obviously you see what his intentions are. He has good intentions here. His intentions are to pay back the kain. His intention is to do the right thing. So he slipped. He pulled a single out of his pocket instead of a 20. He stuck his hand in his pocket to pay. So you see he's doing the right thing. It was not so bad. Right? So I'm not Nakom. We're looking to say. So we're going to go and give him a knas about or not. So that's why that's why we don't necessarily say that we're kantor shegeg to mezid. Now the Gemara is going to bring a few more instances in where we see the same idea. Pashima, let's see another case. Dam shenitma. Someone's bringing a carbon, and the dam became tameh. Yeah, this is going to take us back to all kinds of sugis and zvachim.
Is pig wool?
Not yet. Pigul is on the next. Somebody we're going to see, but this is the dam became tameh. Yeah, v'zarka b'shogeg hortza. So if he did this rika by accident, I mean he didn't realize that it became tameh, then it's good. It's a good carbon. But if he did it on purpose, then it's no good. So let's see Rashi. What are we talking about over here? Exactly more like this. Dr. Rashi like this. B'shegeg hortza. The hatzitz meratza. The halacha is this we know from all over Shas that the tzitz is meratza. That even if you messed up on the carbon, it's not the end of the world because the tzitz helps with the kaparas hakorban. Right? The tzitz meratza mutar basa ba'achila. And the meat of this carbon is going to be mutar ba'achila.
Just a question. Who's messing up here? The Kohen?
Right. Yeah. Vada. The Yisrael's not doing zrika. I hope not.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's a bigger problem.
Yeah, because there's no tzitz meratza. I don't think. Right, but if he did it on purpose, that he was zerik kedam betuma, so then it's loy hortzim midrabbona. Meaning midiraisa it goes through. Just the problem is that it's midrabbona and it doesn't. A knasu who less are basa ba'achila, and there's a knas that is basa, the meat of the korban is also to eat. Avo bailam niskapru. The rabbona can't say that midiraisa the korban he didn't get a kapar. Avadi gets a kapar. But he can't eat the meat. The meat of the korban, the rabbanon can take it away from him. V'hach zrikas mezid isura de rabbanon hit. This zrika b'mezid is only yisur de rabbanon. The midiraisa zerg lechatchila. That's its meratza. Midiraisa, if the dam became tamei, and he knew that the dam became tamei, and he did the zrika anyways, it still goes because the tzitz is meratza, the latafka and shegeg. It goes for mezid as well. I mean, that's the halacha of Sismaratza. Midiraisa. The Rabbanan don't like that because they don't want you to play around, right? So, Amalach Rameir. So, Rameir will tell you like this. Let's see what we're talking about. The guy's not doing this because he's trying to do Averis. The guy wants to do an Avera, he'll find much more exciting Averis to do than to, I'm going to make the Tam Tameh and I'm going to spritz it on the Mizbeach. No. He's doing the carbon, he just wants to continue doing the Avera. Don't stop him, man. Not only that, it's stronger because the Etzim the Tzitz is Meratza, so he's not even, he's not even losing anything.
So why is he playing around?
He's not.
The Kohen knows that if the tzitz is going to take care of it, so why is he doing something? I'm saying,
you can't rely.
What's the Mezid case?
You can't rely. This is the halacha. You can't rely on the tzitz being meratza. Things like this. If you messed it up and you're going to be like, what happened? What's the time my carbon, right? But l'maisa, so the tzitz is meratza. It's like it gives you a little, you can sleep at night.
Right.
It's that kind of thing.
But it's also the guy's korban. It's not the Kohen's korban.
Yeah.
Even more so. It's not even a good comparison because you have somebody at the wheel, basically, that can invalidate the guy's korban and it cause him loss.
It's the Gemara's question. See, if it's shluchei didan, so then he didn't do the right shluchah. Shluchei derachmana, I don't know if it makes things better, makes things worse. The big taisus about it, it's a big long shmuz of how this whole thing works, how the whole operation of the Kahanim works, and we're going to get to see more of that in number base, hopefully. Bez Hashem. It looks like we could get there tonight, hopefully, even.
Okay.
So let's see. So Nochamo. Zok Rashi, b'mezid lo yortzim midrabbanon. B'mezid it doesn't go through. Why? V'knaso hu lesser basar b'achila, v'baylam neskapru. V'hach zrikas mezid, yisur derabbanon, hitam midiraisa zok lichatchil datzitz merat. Okay. So Zok Rebeir, Omelach Remeir, Hachi Hash, let's see. Awesome, Gavril Kapur Chamakabin. In this brayso where the dam was nitma b'zarka b'shegeg, the guy wasn't playing around. This guy wasn't trying to fool around and mess things up in the Beis HaMikdash. He wasn't trying to do that. He was trying to bring his carbon. And something happened along the way that wasn't
the guy, not the Kohen.
Either it doesn't really. At this point, it doesn't really matter. But we're talking about the Kohen because the Kohen is the one that did it.
Okay.
I'm saying obviously the Bailam. The question always is: do the Bailam or was it an escapement for the Bailam or not? In this case, we're saying that it is.
It is.
In most cases, the Bailam have a kapara, right?
Right. Should be.
Yeah. But not Nekum and Nikum say, and we're going to say that it's no good, and we're going to say that if he did it b'shegeg, it's no good. I mean, mainly if he did it b'mezid, so then there's welcome to say, then there's welcome to give him a knas. But when he does it b'shegeg to say to give it a knas, so how about not? Right. So this is the second case where the Gemara is showing that we don't knas a shegeg to mezid. By mezid and shegeg, we look at it as two separate things. We're not going to knas a shegeg to mezid.
Sure.
Okay, next one. Tashma. HaMaisa b'Shabbos, someone who took off Maisa b'Shabbos. So what's the problem? It's a mitzvah. You have the half Israel, but still more than half Israel. Probably still talking about taking off Maisa. It's a mitzvah. So why can't you do it on Shabbos? You can't do it on Shabbos because it's Makah b'Padish, it's Mesak and Munah. You're fixing something, and maybe there's a kinyanim involved and all kinds of things. But the point is that HaMaisa b'Shabbos b'Shegeg yoichal, b'Mezid lo yoichal. The person took off Maisa on Shabbos, so b'Shegeg he can eat it. B'Mezid he can't eat it. Who are we talking about? Zok Rashi. Istur Shvus D'Rabbanan eats. Istur Shvus D'Rabbanan can it's not b'Mashil. The Gemara says, the Mishnah says in Be'ah, Elohein Mishum Shvus Shal Mitzvah. There's certain things that are also because of a Shvus of a Mitzvah. Ein Mike being Trumas and Maisris. The Mechzik Masakim. Doesn't say that Masakim. It looks like he's being Masakim on it. V'hach HaMaisa b'Shabbos Stam Mishnah Masach the Trumas. This that we say that somebody took off Maisa on Shabbos, it's a Stam Mishnah. Stam Mishnah is Rebbeir. Keep that in mind. V'chein Amat Bel Kelav. The next case that the Gemara is going to bring is also a Mishnah that somebody was Tevel Kalim, right? The Tvilas Kalim, you buy you buy a nice silver tray, a silver bowl, whatever it is, you got to be Tevel it. So it's not Misud Rabbanon Masechta Bebe Perk Yontif. The second Perk, when Nishon comes back and Kli, it looks like you're being Masak on the Kli. But Chol Hani Ramina the Rameir the Rameir the Karnas Leil the Rabbanon. Over there we saw that Rameir made a Gzera. All these things are going to be kash on Rameir because Rameir over there earlier said that b'mezid b'shegeg yoichal b'mezid lo yoichal. Why b'mezid lo yoichal? Right? And over here, what's the difference? Right? So all these things are going to be kash on Rameir. So Amalach Rameir is answering this steer for us. Yeah. So let's see the case. Hamasher b'Shabbos, somebody who took off Ma'aser on Shabbos b'shegeg yoichal b'mezid lo yoichal. So l'chayr it looks like that he's come to shegeg to mezid. So I'm sorry.
It might be,
no, not outside the contract of the mates because you're not giving me a knas for shaking.
Yeah.
2 lines before, yeah. So okay, so let's see. Heard some garvelous kune come a chabin. I'm not like come on. This guy, like that. you know, like what I'm trying to think of, like a real, like, Ernst the Amor. Like, Mr. Boda, what he's supposed to do, right? I think Emanuel Feldman writes in his book that lady that would say the whole Siddur every Shabbos, you know, and she would come. You know, the Tmimus to some of these people was mamish gewaldig, right? But you missed, you know, they just didn't, as we would say, they didn't get the nuances, you know? My Shver told me he knows a guy that he wakes up in the morning, he works very early, he goes to work at like 5 o'clock, so he wakes up at like 3, puts on his Talsum Tefillin, and davens Shachas Mincha Ma'ariv. He means that he mamish l'shem Shemayim.
Wow.
With the ganze heart, the ganze da. He missed the vote. He can't have Shachas, he can't have Mincha, you know? Obviously. You know, this guy's doing the right thing. This guy's trying to take over my side. You're gonna, you know, it's the right thing, wrong time. You see, he got it. A little bit off. It's ish gefrelach, but something's missing.
I was going to say, is the case maybe he didn't know it was Shabbat? Is that the case? Like,
So that's b'shoigeg.
right.
But we're saying that, right?
He
That's
didn't realize,
b'shoigeg. That's what
talking
he didn't realize he's not able to take mitzvah.
Paul said. He's a London. He said, it's a mitzvah. No, the Gemara says that the first time person does Avera, okay, fine. Then it came to Shoshana Bo Nas like a heter. Right? The second time he does it, it's like it's mutter already. But the third time he does it, it's Shana Mitzvah. I think Shosalanta says that's Avor, right? Yeah, so that's the thing. He says a mitzvah.
Like, if I don't do it, it's worse. Like, yeah,
right. Wait, he's gonna eat tevel? No, chashav. I mean, so tevel by ma'aser, tevel's by truma, but hamatzah b'shabbat shogeg yochel b'meizel lo yochel. Okay, Asher, let's see. The guy was going to fix his payers so he should be able to eat them. So now Leikum and Nicholas say, for heaven's sake, the guy's taking off Meiser. So let him take off Meiser. So he's a little bit off. It's only a Shvus D'Rabbanan. We're not gonna kill somebody for being over Shvus D'Rabbanan. Though the Medrash, and it does mention a case where they wanted to make a big rash about somebody who was over on a Shvus, and they took him out to kill him, which was a very, very specific. It was a Rasha. It was a very, not regular case. Okay, Toshima, same story. Hamat bil Kalim b'Shabbos. Somebody used Tevel Kalim. B'Shabbos b'Shogeg yishtamish b'hem. So if he did it by Shogeg, then he could use them. But made the lay yishtamish b'hem. Same story. This guy is coming to be Matara's pot. You know, obviously he's not cooking with them. He just wants to be able to have a nice tray to serve his fish on, whatever it is. So now Leikum looking, he's doing mitzvah. We're not going to make him problems. Rabbi Yehuda, b'Drabbanan. The same way we asked the kasha in the beginning on Gimel and Beis, Rami D'Rameir, D'Rameir B'D'Raisa, we're going to ask the same kasha of Rabbi Yehuda on Rabbi Yehuda B'Drabbanan. The Tanya, so not Raisa. We learned in the Raisa and Dalad and Beis. Noflu v'Nispatu, Echad Shegeg v'Echad Mezid, Lo Yalu D'Rei Rameir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon Eimer, B'Shegeg Yalu v'Mezid Lo Yalu. What are we talking about here? So Rashi clues us into most of the story. So you have Paris that are Orla. So again, Orla is very severe, it's as we mentioned earlier. So you have a Goize Perech, Rashi says, a certain high quality walnut. Right. And they're very, very not common. So Ein B'Teilen Afilu Be'elef Mebnei Chashivusan, the very chashiv kind of fruits, and even Afilu Be'elef Le'Batel. Even in 1,000 they don't become batel. So certain kinds of things, because of the chashiva shebai, no matter how many it falls into, in the taruvas. By the way, Masechta Arla deals mostly with taruvas. There's a lot of different kinds of isurim in the first parak, the second parak, and could be even parts of the third parak. And then that's it. The Masechta is 3 parak.
So the hashivut of something determines the ratio of bitul.
Yeah. Now is that the Raisa or that's the Ravona? I'll clue you in. The Gemara says that it's a kash Rabbi Yehuda with the Ravona. Yes, it's going to be with the Ravona because. What's the halacha of bittul midaraisa? The halacha of bittul midaraisa is if you have
by Olah you're talking about.
By anything midaraisa,
okay.
Any kind of issue midaraisa. If it falls into something and there's rive or there's doubler,
it's okay.
It's goodbye.
Wow.
All these things are derabanan. You know, when the Gemara talks about batul b'shishim, the Gemara it's like there's a whole pilpul and a whole lumdus to figure out what the cheshbon is and why certain things are batul b'shishim. So again, you have a goyze perach, you have these certain kinds of walnuts. In betel and afilu be'elav bnei chashivusan is batzu ha-goyzim shel orla. But if these are goyzim of orla, they got split. V'achakach novlu l'teich shel heter yalu. Then they could be orla. Then they could become batul. But naflu tchila v'achakach nisbatzu. So then echad shegeg echad mezid lo yalu divrei Rameir. According to Rameir lo yalu. because first they fell in, and then they opened up. I guess it was different. I guess it was a different kind of a thing if it opened up or if it didn't open up. So echad shepatzon shogeg, whether they got split open b'shogeg shlein eskavik televatel chashivusa, meaning kol zman it's in the shell, that's when it has a chashivus. Once the shell cracks open, it no longer has a chashivus anymore. So la loista bechad masayim k'din orla. Orla is bottled by echad masayim, 1 in 200. If you have 200 times more than this thing that fell in by orla, if orla falls in 200 times more, it's bottled, it's good. But if it's less than 200 times more, right? If it's less than that, so then it's no good, right? What you got to do is it's awesome.
You got to fill it up.
Yeah. So what happened was that it fell in and then it cracked open. So now you don't know where it is anymore, right? But what happened? So obviously, if it cracked open first and then it fell in, so the chashivus was bottled before. So we're not dealing with a goyze perich anymore, right? So we're dealing with it's not a problem taruvus. I mean, the orla technically is still there, but the chashivus of that, you move out to the chashivus. That's that's not an issue. So echad shepatzon shogeg shlein eskavik televatel chashivus la loista bechad masayim k'din orla bein shepatzon maybe sheskam lekach. So Rachaishish over here that maybe what he's going to do is the egg is going to fall in with the shell, and then he'll say, oh, 1 second, if it doesn't have the shell, then it's going to be bottled. Because it's bottled, the chshivas is bottled. So he's going to go in with a hammer and he's going to smash off all the ones that have shells. Okay, it's bottled, gegangen. We're good. So Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shogeg, Yalu. Rabbi Shogeg, if it falls in, then you can take it out. But if it's been mezid, lo yalu. But if it's been mezid, then you can't take it out. Zok Rashi lo yalu. Afilu be'elef. Even if you have 1,000 times more, it's lo yalu. Why? The Knesset Ramei Rabbi Yehuda shogeg to mezid. Because you see over here, the Ramei Rabbi Yehuda say that we are geyser shogeg to mezid. Ve'afal gav the hachaliyah shehu mala umevatel geyser perich yisur d'Rabbanu b'almahu. Even though this whole shmuz of a geyser perich is only yisur d'Rabbanan, but afilu shleimim. Why? It's a midaraisa. Ain't chiluk ben chashuv and she'en chashuv. This whole business of something being chashuv, being bottled, that's only midarabanan. Midaraisa, once something has a taruvis and you have more of it, it's fine. Because the hakol bottle, the chsiv acher rab lahat is rabbanu de gozer. Any number of anything, any shear of any kind of any kind of taruvis from anywhere in the Torah.
If it's rov, it's fine.
If it's right, you're good. So Elamai, if it's a number, then it's a Rabbanon.
You make it a whole now.
But Aval Pikan was saying that Ramei Rabbi Yehuda was still geyser, was still Karnas Shogeg got to Mezid. Right? V'hochad midaraisa chad b'trebot. Now, if you want to know what the score is midaraisa, you have 2 against 1. It's bottle. Rabbanon Huda Gaza, and you see the Karnas Rabbi Yehuda, and you see the Rabbi Yehuda. It's so the way to read it is Naflu v'Nisfatzu Echad Shogeg v'Echad Mezid L'Yal Divrei Ramei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon, I read it wrong before. I'm just correcting myself back then. So, Rabbanu de Gaza, make a Kanas Rabbi Yehuda, and we see that Rabbi Yehuda makes a Knas over here of Shogeg to Mezid. So, Zak the Gemara, Hosam Hainu time Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Dasi Larumen. Over there by Orla, it's very simple what he might do. So there's a very stark reason why he might be playing games over here, why he might not be honest over here. Why? Like Rashi, the Ula Hiskaber, the Yomer Shogeg, he's learning Skavantik de Lalos. And I was just a shake. If someone asks, what are you doing? It's a Taruvis, you can't take it out. And no, it was just a Shogeg. Hey, it was never a Shogeg, the guy's playing games the whole time.
Right.
So that's why you have to be kind of Shogeg to amazing. In the case of a carpenter, you don't have this kind of thing. These guys bring a carpenter, he can't be playing games. He's doing it for the kapara, for the meiser. He's being misaka meiser.
Right.
He's serious. He's not playing games. But over here, there's stark welcome to assume that he's playing games because it's good monetarily. It could be a big loss for him. So he doesn't want to do that. So he'll say, "No, it was only shaking and it's okay." But Rami Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yosef. We also have a kasha on Rabbi Yosef over here. Steering Rabbi Yosef. That's none. We have another Mishnah in Arla that says like this: "Netir shel Arla shel kili akera, shenis arva benetias acheres hareza lo yelaket v'em liget yalav echad masayim." So if you have a plant of Arla and climb, yeah, is that one thing?
Or kilai.
Or climb, right. That would make a lot more sense. Shenis arva benetias acheres. So again, Orla is batul bin Masayim. Klayim is also batul bin Masayim. right? And we don't know which one's Klaim, and we don't know which one's the Orla one. So you don't pick from any of them. You can't collect them. But if you have 200, if you did pick it, make sure you have at least 200 more. But he shouldn't do it bedavka in order that he should be able to pluck it. Rabbi Yossi says that it's no problem, even if he wants to be mechavan to do it bechan Messiah, it's no problem. Let's see Rashi. Hareza leilaka. The kolzman shibim kaima k'mechuber chashiva. Kolzman that the plant is attached to the ground, so it's not going to become bottle. B'chlogas leperis mavatel u'b'Messiah mavatel esachatchila. You know, we always say like this. What's the problem of being mavatel esachatchila? If I know that I only have 40 times the amount of milk that fell into the challenge, right? Say, I know it's not bottle b'shish. A big brick of cheese fell into the challenge. Yeah, it's not bottle b'shish. Yeah? I'm a London. What do? I have a big pot. Dump in double the amount of meat. Now it's bottle b'shish. No, it doesn't work like that. That's called being mavatel and it's a lechatchila. Mela fell in. So fine. So that's a taruvis. You can't play around. You can't manipulate the taruvis in your favor. You don't do that. That's called being mavatel is lechatchila. So when he's being melaket the Paris over here of the Arlo the Kilei HaKerem, he's now enabling it that it could become batul Messiah. So we don't want that to happen, right? If he knew about this taruvis and he didn't space out about it, yalu the havelei shogeg the loin is skavin lelakin amanas levatel. It's not like he's picking these fruits kedei that he should be able to be mevatel esachatchila. He's picking these fruits because he's picking the fruits. So
what happens? The guy has a hashisha. The guy has a question in his mind whether or not it's orla or ilayim, and now he's like, I'm not going to think about the ratio. I'm just going to start picking. That's the scenario.
Yeah. What's so bad?
So basically, he's putting himself on the road.
Cole's man that he's not doing it.
He's not mitaken with mezid.
Right. Right. Because like this, I want to pick my strawberries. What's wrong with picking strawberries? There's no issue to pick the strawberries. The thing is that if I'm picking the strawberries today, that I should be able to manipulate the taruvis.
Right. I understand.
Once you're trying to manipulate the taruvis, then you're being mavatel lechatchila. If not, then you're not, and it's fine.
Right.
So Rabbi Yossi, like the alabechon Messiah, just don't think about it. We learned about this. A person wouldn't go out of his way to make his entire karam osir just from one plant. So a person is going to be very careful to make sure that his orla doesn't get mixed in with other things. He's going to mark with a big red X to know that this is no good. And we also learned when Rabban came, he said to them Rabbi Yechon the same thing, that Ein Adam Oyes says Karmer b'netei achas, he's going to be very careful about it. So it came into the Lashchicha le'achmer barabon, and since it's not common, since people take orlo so seriously, there's almost never a chance that the orlo is going to get mixed in with other plants. So then the Chachamim were not le'achmer barabon, the Chachamim were not machmer about it. Avol nefilas iser beheter shchicha. Netiya bein ha-netiyas, that's not common because we're always going to guard the orla plants that it shouldn't get mixed up with the others. But if I have a whole bunch, if I'm processing the fruits and I'm just separating these to go here and these to go there, and then things get mixed up, things always get mixed up. All right, I said we're going to start the Mishnah, so we got to start. We got like a minute and a half left. Okay, ha-kohanim shepoglu b'mikdash mezidin chayovin. If the kohanim bedavka made a carbon pickle, they in the mikdash they did it b'mezid the chayiv. Someone once asked me, why would a kohen want to do this?
Just asked him before. He's going to get back at the guy, whatever. Well, that's not
I don't know. There must be some internal politics. I don't get involved. Okay. Tan Rabbanu. Yeah. The guy was dealing with some kind of taurus. By the way, a lot of these fruits that I was just dealing with you, they became tameh. Or if he was dealing with them in karbanos. So in both cases, whether by kachim, whether by taurus, if he says that these karbanos became pigul, see he's neman. You remember 3 months ago we were doing taurus over there? By the way, I was tameh then. What's that supposed to mean? You know, Bishlam, like the Mishnah Nida says, you make the cheshbonis of in the last 24 hours, or when you need to start paying attention to the Zman, or when the Tumah might creep up, and these kind of things. What, to tell me that last year something happened that we became Tumah? What are you talking about? So Zak the Gemara is not going to be Nema. So the question is, Maishna Reisha, Maishna Sefer. What's the difference between Reisha and Sefer? Whatever you have in your hand, that's going to be Neman. Rav Omar is going to Ashkechev. He sees him every single day. He sees the guy by Mincha. Doesn't tell him anything. 6 months later, he tells him, "Oh, by the way, do you remember 6 months ago we were busy collecting grapes over there? I was tamei then, and all those grapes are tamei. Shogeg. Well, why didn't you tell me then? I don't want to make you feel bad. You know, like always these kind of things. You can't do that because that means that this person is dealing with someone. So that's why he's saying, what are you playing games with this guy? Were you scared of him? So if you're scared of him, you tell him now too. And then he tells him. All right, I think we should stop here for Marv, and we can continue from here tomorrow. All right.